Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Africa Sports Consultancy's weekly live show. And today, as you all been waiting, we have an amazing guest, Tshepo, and we've been looking forward to this interview with them today. And yeah, Tshepo, welcome to Africa Sports Consultancy. We're looking forward to chatting with you and to hearing more about you today.
Yeah, thank you very much, man, for inviting me over to share a couple of key experiences that I had via my cricketing career and to become a model as well. I really appreciate that a lot, man.
Awesome. So yeah, just to start off, I'm sure a lot of people are excited to know about your modeling and your cricket, but let's put some context into it. Tell us a bit more about yourself. Who is Tshepo? Who is Tshepo besides the cricket and the modeling?
Yeah, man. Tshepo, Tshepo Motaung, as you guys know. I'm from Bethlehem originally. Grew up in a small background. I mean, nothing much really happened in my upcoming or in my growth. So life is life. I mean, we experience a lot of things in our growth as much as we grow up. So I don't really have much to say about my background, but I'm Tshepo, 28 years old. Um, yeah, that's I don't have much to say more, man. I mean, it's just
No,
simple thing.
awesome, man, awesome. Yeah. So just to move on a bit from that, tell us a bit more about cricket, because before the modeling, there is the cricket, which is how I know you a bit more, and this is where we actually did meet at the University of the Free State playing cricket there. So tell us a bit more about your journey in cricket. When did you start playing cricket, and how did you progress in your cricketing career in that order?
Yeah, I started playing cricket at the age of 8. I remember exactly when I was in Bethlehem. So I started playing for the mini cricket called Bakers or TFC back in the day. So yeah, from the age of 10, that's when I was uh, not appointed, but I was scouted by a couple of few coaches around the Free State or the East of Free State, originally where I come from in Bethlehem side. And remember, being an African player of black, African player of color, it's not that easy to break through the boundaries. So we had a team called Masakani back then. We had to play in the likes of Freda Castle, Jordania in Bethlehem, other schools like Grey College as well, Saints in Bloom, St. Dominic's and those kind of schools. So we played against them. And back in the days, I was still young. I didn't know anything more about the game of cricket. But then as we grow up, a lot of people, they felt interested in nurturing me or coaching me to become a better player as they saw potential that I never saw in myself. To a point where I can't remember exactly what age I was, but 2010, I started to be like more mature in the game. You know what I'm saying? Then I played the Easter Free State, printed my Easter Free in Bethlehem there, as I said. I still play in the Centers of Excellence because coached by Marvin Sleazy by the thing. He was normally driving from Bloom to Bethlehem now and then to just come and see me, to coach me where I needed to be coached, or to improve my skills where it had to. And in the likes of him, Thabiso Sebeko, Nimizo is my ex-coach as well. Silo Mabuya. Those guys, they really had their hand in my growth in becoming a better cricketer. Then 2012, I got scouted to play. I got scouted by a coach. I remember that way in Bethlehem. That's where things became really interesting for me. I was like, yeah, okay. I wasn't thinking about all about this, but now I'm getting bursaries. The recently I had to choose between Grey College, Tuatreka, Vetebeche, and being in Poch, Technique. Then I decided to go to Poch. I left my first guys here, then I moved this side. Then after completing my matric, that's when I signed my first contract with the Gauteng Easterns, or the Titans Easterns, if I'm putting that way, where I was coached by the likes of Andre Nell. He's the ex Protea quick bowler or fast bowler. He was my coach. He was my mentor. He was being there for me here on stage. And I also got privileged enough to be coached by Mark Boucher when I was still under the Titans Academy. So yeah, man, and to a point where I even came back to the Free State, 2017 when I moved back to Blue.
Now, that's really so interesting, man. That's really so interesting. So, yeah, just to maybe give our viewers, a bit of a feel, like when you got your first semi-professional contract on the from the Titans Academy, how did that feel? I mean, from you came from Bethlehem, where you started playing cricket there. It's a small town in the Free State, and I assume that a lot of players are coming from, Bloemfontein and all that, and you came from Bethlehem to Porch, and you're now finding yourself in Gauteng, playing in the Titans Academy and getting coached by amazing people like Mark Boucher and all that. How was that? How was that move for you? How was the feeling that you had when you got that call up to move to Gauteng and to play for the Titans Academy?
I remember exactly before I got my contract or before I signed it. I just got picked up for the Titans Academy. Then we were playing Poch, 2013. I mean 2014, 2015. We were playing Poch. Then I performed pretty good, man. Even my coach, he was like, dude, because they normally call me Hamani, which is like, they want to say, what's his name? Ayakamani, but they call me Hamani, the accent. So he was like, dude, I actually like your performance in the whole week. We've never seen anything like this that we've done before. So far, we are happy with the performance. And when I got back to Easterns, then I think a week later, then I was one of the guys who got the contract. And I was really, really happy because I mean, I was only playing that for fun, for the love of it, but now it was my job to be there, to be present every day, practice every day, then doing self-discipline, which I lacked at the beginning. So, but then everything had to, stop everything, just focus.
No, that's really great to hear, man. That's really great to hear and very inspiring. I'm sure there's a lot of youngsters out there that are looking, that look up to you and that will be watching this and that will get really inspired. So to move on from that, you then move from, Gauteng, the Titans Academy to the Free State, to play in the Free State Academy and also practice with the Knights. And I remember when we spoke before this, you spoke about practicing with big names, in the game of cricket, some Protea players and all that. How was the move? You move away from the Free State, now you move back to the Free State. How was that readjustment for you now? Because I'm sure it must have been different.
Yeah, totally. Because remember, there I was coming from the high four, and I was coming back to the Free State, so I had to adjust my mindset all bit. Because being in Gauteng or being Joburg, the last day was a bit faster, if I put it in that way. And I was introduced more to the game of cricket and being coached by the likes of Mark Boucher, as I said, and Nell, encountered Rusty van der Best, and I used to play with him from Poch, Chris Morris, Albie Morkel, Morne Moki, they helped me with my bowling. But then coming back to Free State, I had to adjust a lot of things. I mean, I almost got everything, you know what I'm saying? Because there I had a lot of, coaches were there. I had whatever that I needed, from mental toughness to wellness, financial planning, all those things. But coming back this side, it was a bit of a train smash. Truth be told, but then yeah. So at least I got privileged enough to play for semi-pro in the freestyle again, where I played with 500 billion. He's also the nice captain. I played with Reina van Don that is playing for the Knights, and he was the captain of under 19 SA. Yeah, I played with a couple of you guys, man. As you mentioned, the bigger names, the experience that I got from Gordon Dry in the likes of him, Shelly van Skalvik, Rudy Seconds, he was at some point a wicket keeper, and yeah, it was just quite amazing for me, bro.
No, amazing to hear that, man. And you touch on very important and fundamental things there when you actually speak about the mental well-being programs and financial planning. that you were getting in the, from the Titans in Gauteng, and not really getting them when you move to the Free State. So just to touch on a bit on that, you know, how much of a difference did all those other services or those other extra things that you got, support that you got in your game, besides actually going and playing or practicing and batting and bowling, but mental well-being, financial planning, and all that support. Like, how important is that, and how important was that for you in helping you become a better cricket player?
Yeah, a lot of things they really, really important in terms of planning your life or planning your future or securing the bag or something like that. I remember when I had my second benefits, I didn't even utilize any of them. However, I started utilizing when I got back to Blue. Um, when I was still back in the Titans, uh, I mean, SECA was paying for my license, for my studies, all those kind of things. But because we have so much in our mind or on our plate, I didn't even sacrifice my time for all those important things. I was mostly focusing on the other side. But then the years later, I started to regret that I could have took those opportunities in becoming a better person. Because imagine if those guys were able to pay for my license, for my studies, and so I never utilized them. It was a no-brainer. So I would say to someone who's actually listening to this or who has the privilege of earning a contract, if you get to a point where I was, in terms of signing the contract and all those things, get yourself a financial planner, someone who will be able to help you to be a good stewardship of your finances. Go to computer studies or something like that. I mean, it's there's life after sport in a simple term.
Exactly, man. You know, you're touching on such important things, and you're touching on actually a lot of the things which Africa Sports Consultancy is all about. You know, for all the people that are watching who don't really know much about what we do as Africa Sports Consultancy, you know, we focus on assisting clients or assisting amateur, professional, and upcoming athletes, and cricketers, whichever sport you play, you know, in fundamental things like, you know, financial planning. You know, we have online tools that assist youngsters in in that aspect, and we try help people to not only look at sport as their only way of living, but to understand
Yes.
that there is much more important things, you know, and there's other important things out there except your sport, and you still have a life, you know, after you retire. So, you know, I'm really happy that you touched on that, man. You know, so now, Tshepo, you know, we've talked about the cricket, and now we're moving on to something which a lot of people are looking forward to hearing from you today, the modeling. How did that happen? How did you change from playing cricket and now, you know, going into modeling? I was myself surprised when I saw that.
Yo, that one was I don't know how to say it, but I remember again, I think it was 2013 or 2014. I was still back in Porch again, where one of my aunts or relatives, she was telling me of if I could consider um, acting, not per se modeling, but I've never took that seriously or into my mental health or something like that. But then, yeah, I like style. I love to dress up in my body. You know, if you're German, man, you gotta do something about you looking good, you being styled up and being classy. You know, it's all about. I mean, having that you feel good about yourself. So that's how it started with me. And then 2018, I moved from Bloom to going back home. Then that's where I was kind of interested more in becoming a model because a couple of you guys at home they wanted me to wear the garments.
No, interesting, man. That's really interesting. You know, I'm sure, you know, like changing from cricket to, you know, to go into the modeling side, there was a few hurdles that you had to, you know, overcome a bit. Because I mean, being a sportsman and being a model is like a bit a different way, you know, kind of a different thing. So tell us, like, what challenges did you have to overcome, maybe mentally or and also systematically that you had to overcome from during the transition that you made?
I think most of the people that we normally fear, the fear of failure, that one has been there a lot. It's not only myself, but a lot of guys as well, they fear that failure. So with me as well, it has been the bigger issue. And me moving away from cricket to be now a model, I had to adjust a lot of things in my mental or in my mind that now, yo, people, they're going to question me about, you said one day you'd be playing for the Proteas, but look at you, look where you are now. Your instincts are no longer going to be questioned. So those were the kind of things that I've been mostly worried about.
No, amazing, man. You know, you touch on very important things, you know, especially on the part of the fear of failure. I'm sure there's a lot of young and upcoming athletes watching today, and that would maybe, you know, have that in their mind of saying, what if cricket doesn't work for me? What if I move into something else without still, you know, work? Or what do those people think if I move into something different? So
Mm.
I'm sure they would really take a lot of inspiration from you. So, you know, like as we're speaking, you know, let's dive deep in a bit deep into modeling. So tell us, what's your style in modeling? Is there like a genre that you specialize in? How does modeling work? And what exactly, um, what type of model are you? I'm sure our viewers would like to know a bit about that.
Yeah, there's pageantry, there's commercial modeling, of which myself I'm falling under commercial modeling, where I only do the ads, do the shoots for a couple of few brands or shops as well. At the moment, I've worked with Puma, Diesel, Under Armour. I'm busy with Man as well. I'm shooting there for them on Monday. I worked for Kia. I've shot for Kia as well. I've shot for Sneakers Inc. It's a shop here in Bloom to create the Love of My Life with some other boutique there as well. I mean, with my height, um, I wouldn't be pretty enough to be in the pageantry, but I chose commercial because they're looking for skin, they're looking for bearded sometimes, or yeah. So that's where I'm actually proning it.
No, great, man, great. I'm sure a lot of people would actually, yeah, that's really amazing, man. That's really great. Um, so, you know, touching on the journey to Miss the South Africa influencer finalist, um, you know, tell us a bit more about that part. How was the feeling? How tell us about that journey in it all. Like, how did that journey go for you to get there?
Yeah, I think they actually saw my work on the social platforms, and the founder, Mr. Harold Kufa, who's the founder of Mr. and Miss South Africa Influencer. He saw my work there, as I said, on the social platforms, where I'm mostly posting about positive things, about my life experiences, about never giving up on your dreams, never giving up on your hopes or your goals or vision. No matter, you can come from unprivileged families, but your background isn't going to classify who you are. You know what's birthed in you, you know what's in your heart. So with me as well, because I know I have a sinful heart, I like to change the lives of many people. So being shortlisted in being one of the finalists of Mr. Miss South Africa Influencer really brought those things up again in me. It birthed a new thing in me. It just gave me more hope in what I wanted to do in life. Because I've been praying that one day when I get rich or when I have money, is to help people out. But without having that now, because I have that slash, I can be able to tap in my abilities to do what I want to do when I have money.
No, amazing, man. You know, you touch on very critical and very important points, you know. And I'm sure our viewers out there would really, you know, take that to heart that it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your background, you know, you can still achieve your dreams and you can still get where you want to go. You just need to believe in yourself and know that it is possible for you. Um, I mean, in all other ways. Just also to move on a bit, Tshepo, before we move on to the questions that our viewers, I'm sure they are looking forward to ask. Um, Tell us a bit about what legacy do you want to leave in this world? What is your legacy that you want to leave? What mark and how would you want everyone to remember you?
Yeah, that question is a very good one. I would say I want to leave the world in a better place. I want people to remember what I did for someone else, or for somebody. One of the biggest places I see, I have a sinful heart. I want to serve my community. I want to serve my people. Of which one of the bigger reasons for me to be a model is my neighbors, whereby most of them they are dropouts. They don't have finances to go to school and all those things. But then they give me hope every single time when I open my eyes every day to see them, to see them. I want to do something for them. I really want to help them to get out there and just for them to live their dreams. And yeah, that's the most important thing that I want to do is to be the helping hand to someone. Because to be where I am, it was because of the people as well that helped me. So as they say, the spirit of Ubuntu, that one really helped me, and I believe in the spirit of Ubuntu.
That's amazing, man. You touch on very important. You're hitting it on the knot the whole time today, and which is the content that I'm sure our viewers signed up for. You speak about service as what you want to do and what you want to leave. The mark you want to leave in this world is being of service to other people, and which is something I hope everyone that's watching today would really, take up on that. That's very inspiring. So moving on to the questions, we have a very interesting question from Nicholas. He says, um, what has your greatest obstacle been in life, and how did you overcome it?
Um, I would say the fear of failure, as I said again, because I'd say I'm gonna move back to my where I come from. The thing is, my mom, she's blind, right? So with her differently able, I wouldn't say disabled, differently able. Um, I was afraid to move from home to explore the world or to do what I want to do in life because I was mostly thinking of her every single time. But then I started to believe more in myself. I was like, cool, she's differently able, but I still get life to live as well. And to whoever who's living with someone who's differently able, you can also live your life while still looking after them.
No, amazing, man. That's a very good answer that you just gave to a very good question. Moving on to the next question from Godwell. He says, was you stopping cricket optional?
um, yeah, and circumstances again, because the time when I left Bloom, it wasn't a choice for me to leave. Um, I was kind of offered or told to go somewhere else to just start something else that can create a legacy for me to be a coach, where I ended up to become a teacher. So yeah, I wasn't ready to stop playing cricket because I still feel that I would have offered more.
No, great. Great. That's a very good answer, man. And moving on to the question which I have for you is, how important is it for an aspiring professional athlete to not only focus on their sport, but to also think of other things out there in the world that they can engage in or do.
I would mostly say if you have a look in our country, most of the soccer players, they really have nothing. And I learned that from a community again. But my cousin now is the Bomkwena. He's still young and he's doing a lot for himself. that he's studying and he bought a couple of properties. And I mean, not only him, there's so many guys like Bongim Bonambi, who's coming from Bethlehem. He did the good thing for himself as well by completing his studies, looking after those who are unprivileged, as I said, because you never know where your help is going to come from one day. But this life that I'm living is my life, but I'm living that for my children. That some of them that I may be able to help today, they will be able to come back to my kids and say, I am here because of your dad's help or because of somebody else's help. So looking back is always going to be the bigger thing for me.
That's a very good answer, Tshepo. That's a very good answer. Moving on to the next question from Kani. They say, how do you deal with critique, especially given how bad it is for dark-skinned in the modeling field? If you experience light-skin privilege?
I've experienced that via cricket, not only in modeling. Cricket-wise, it was really bad, and even now things are unfolding more in about the transformation about racism in cricket. But in modeling side, I've never experienced any because I've seen that a lot of guys now they actually prefer dark-skinned people to be their ambassadors.
That's a very good answer, man. You speak about the whole transformation in cricket and a lot of things unfolding. It's really sad to hear about some of the things, but we hope people learn from what's going on, and the world moves forward and we move past all this discrimination and all those other things that are happening in the world into a much better world for our children's sake and grandchildren's sake and so forth. Just to ask one more question before we start closing off our discussion today. What advice would you give a young aspiring athlete, model, academic, whichever, coming from a small town like Bethlehem in South Africa, or whichever country they might be watching this for? What, just 2 or 3 word advice would you tell them, or would you give them to inspire them to, to see themselves where they want to go and where they want to be?
I'd say number one, believe in God, believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, trust your instincts, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. The world is so oyster. Never give up. Don't let the setback hold you back. I mean, your background doesn't classify you, as I say. All those things, man. What other people's gonna say about your life, about who you are, don't take that to mind. But believe in who you are and make the world to be a better place for someone else.
No, amazing, man. That's such an amazing answer that you just gave right there. So Tshepo, unfortunately, our time is run by very quickly. And they always say that time flies when you're having a great conversation, and I'm sure our viewers feel the same way that I feel. As Africa Sports Consultancy, we are very privileged and very grateful to have you as our guest today and to share such an inspiring story, inspiring story that is going to inspire not only the people that watch here, but a generation, a future generation of athletes, a future generation of aspiring models, academics, or whichever field that people are aspiring to do. And I'm sure people are going to take these lessons and take them forward to do great things out there. So thank you so much, Tshepo. If you can please finish and with a couple of last words that you have for our viewers, I would really appreciate that.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I was saying if you can just finish off with a couple of last words for our viewers, would really appreciate it.
Yeah, now each one teach one, reach one. Go big or go home. don't fear anything, guys. I mean, the world is so ice, guys. I say, you got nothing to lose. Take risks. I mean, life is too. Yeah, you only live once. You only die once, but you live every day. So leave a mark.
Great words, Tshepo. Really amazing words. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. For such an amazing session from Africa Sports Consultancy's weekly session. We look forward to seeing you in the following week. Keep looking out for our next guest. I'm sure we're gonna have an exciting, and inspiring and entertaining guest. Thank you. Until next week. Good night.